Unfortunately, the attendance at the meetings was not as we'd hoped. We ended up inviting a lot of NGOs, community leaders, and really only those of which we had the closest relationships in working actually attended. So the whole thing is about getting the fire services there as fast as possible. It's about getting a fire that only affects one house actually recognized as fire victims by government. It's because one house, they put it out of buckets. They don't call fire services, therefore disaster management doesn't get notified, solid waste doesn't get notified, electricity doesn't get notified. So the emphasis is, even if you manage to put out the fire yourself, still call fire services. So the general concepts, the go bag, the more than one exit, and specifically for community leaders, the respecting the work of fire services. It's really about community leaders stepping up to make sure that fire services can find the site as quick as possible. That community leaders start recognizing fire hydrants as a resource that they as a community need to protect, and they need to, as a community, show firefighters, because firefighters can't know every fire hydrant. Okay, next slide. We then see it as our role to assist community leaders with getting the official name list done as quick as possible. We only have 2 to 3 days after the fire to get this list submitted to SASSA. So us as Living Hope see it as our role to be available after hours to make sure that people who were at work when disaster management came to take the name list, that their names are still retrospectively within the allotted time, still added to the list. Our emphasis is also to make sure, specifically foreigners, that they realize that their names on this list means they will get assistance. And specifically when I write the lists, I don't ask for ID numbers. I don't want someone to not write their name on the list because they don't have a South African ID number. So that is our big emphasis here, and we try and use. We have created actually our own lists because we are not City of Cape Town. But we make sure we have that our format is identical so that the lists we capture can then get basically directly transferred onto cities lists. The other thing is that specifically with SASA's relief, we often realize 3, 4, 5, 6 days later, names were duplicated because on big fires, you've got 3, 4 people writing names. And you can't blame anyone for wanting to make sure their name is on more than one list. They just want to make sure they get the help needed. So there is a lot of work needed to sort out duplicates. So what we've started, especially on the big fires, we as Living Hope come with laptops. As disaster management captures the lists on paper, we type them up so that we can sort them by different criteria, finding those duplicates. Making sure we've got the best list possible. It also means, okay, next slide, that when we do distributions, it's a quick process. If instead of going through 20 lists of names, all you have to ask is, give me your house number. We can then very quickly hand out the relief. So we see it as very important that our community leaders are there every step of the way with us. We will not do a distribution to fire victims without community leaders present. Unless it's a very small fire, 1, 2 households, that's a quick drop. We assist with the disaster relief parcel. So when there's over 100 mattresses being delivered, and that by 3 different service providers at different times. How do you keep them safe? So and that within 3 days. Most people by that point have not rebuilt. They don't have a place to keep their new mattress safe. So we offer our facilities, our big halls, as a place for storage until the community leaders ask us to come bring them to the community, and we do 1 distribution day for all the items brought by SASA. We as Living Hope add to that, we add a food parcel to that, very importantly, inside a bucket, so it's safe from any water, it's safe from rats, and you've got an extra container you can use for washing, for keeping water if you need it. And then that's pretty much what we do. We also have 19 soup kitchens in our areas. So where possible, we will then, or where practical, we will activate a soup kitchen to start feeding for especially that critical first 2 days. Until SASA comes in with their. We also assist with other donations that have been brought to us, clothing. So yeah, that is pretty much what we do. We did find that a community, Red Hill, informal settlement, knew nothing of this. When we spoke to them, it sounded like they had never had a SASA official there before. So our biggest challenge is that when it's only 1 or 2 houses that are burnt, disaster management does not go and assess. So these are people that don't get any assistance unless an NGO like Living Hope does the assessment and sends the information